Good morning, students. Welcome to today class. Today we will discuss very important topic, maxims of teaching. This is very important for increase in teaching learning process, or we can say to enhance student learning. Uh, maximus of teaching is very useful for teacher. Learning objective of today lecture after this presentation, learner will be able to know the maxims of teaching. We will cover all maxims of teaching from know to unknown, from simple to complex, from concrete to abstract, from analysis to synthesis, from particular to journal, from empirical to rational, from induction to deduction, from psychological to logical, from actual to representative, from whole to part, from definite to indefinite. A student will able to understand all uh, maxims of teaching. Uh, maxims of teaching, maxims are short statements like a dictum that are treated as general rule of conduct. Universal facts uh, found out by teacher after year of experiences. They are culture free and universal in nature. They are tried and tested principle. They accelerate momentum of teaching learning process and help in achieving success in a classroom. Maximus of teaching are universal fact found out by the teacher on the basis of experience. They are of universal significance and are trustworthy. The knowledge of different maxims help the teacher to proceed systematically. It also helps to find out his way of teaching, especially in the early stage of teaching. Every teacher wants to maximum involvement and participation of the learner in the learning process. The teacher set the classroom in such a way so that it become attractive for them. Teacher use different methods, rules, principle, extra in order to make his or her lesson effective and purposeful. Teacher use general rule or formula and applies it to particular example in order to make teaching learning process easy and up to the understandable level of students. These set lead principle continents working rules or general through which teaching become interesting, easy and effective are called maximus of teaching. They have universal significance. Every person who is expected to enter into the teaching profession have to familiarize himself with the maximus of teaching. Their knowledge help him to proceed systematically. Maximus of teaching, maximums are short statement like a dictum that are treated as general rule of conduct. Today we will cover from known to unknown maximums, simple to complex, from concrete to abstract, from analysis to synthesis, from particular to journal, from empirical to rational, from induction to deduction, from psychological to logical, from actual to representative, from whole to part, from definite to indefinite. Today we will cover all these maximus and we will also discuss example of these maximus. From known to unknown. When a child enter into school, he process some knowledge and it is the duty of teacher to enlarge his previous knowledge. Whatever he processes should be linked with the new knowledge. If we link new knowledge with the old knowledge, our teaching become clear and more definite. This maximum facilities facilitate the learning process and economize the efforts of the teacher and the taught. For example, is teaching English to the children, and he is to teach the word water. He reminds then the Kashmiri word ab, which they already know, and then tells them that in English we say water. This way of teaching help the learner to understand things fully. This way the teaching become definite, clear, and more fruitful. From simple to complex. The main objective of teaching is to teacher and learning objective is to learn something. In this process of teaching and learning, simple or easy thing should be first presented to the student, and gradually he should proceed towards complex or difficult things. The presentation of simple material make the learner interested, confident, and feel encouraged. As they will show interest towards the simple material, they become respective to the complex matter. On the other hand, if complex matter is presented first, the learner become upset, feel uh, bored, and find himself in the challenging situation. For example, in mathematics, we first present the idea of plus, minus, multiplication, and then division. When the child gets admitted into the ninth and 10th class, we introduce algebra, studies, trigonometry, geometry, etc. As he proceed further, he become familiar with the complex material like matrices, integration, etc. In this way, a learner show interest by proceeding from simple mathematics to complex one. But if we reverse the situation, he will find himself in a challenging situation and will let his studies due to complexity of the matter. Simplicity or complexity of the subject matter should be determined according to the viewpoint of the learner. It make learning convenient and interesting for the student. From concrete to abstract. Concrete things are sorry, solid things. They can be visualized, but abstract things are only imaginative. Sorry, imaginative things. The child understands more easily when taught through their senses and nerve. Forget the material. On the other hand, if abstract things or ideas are presented, they forget it soon. As Horrible said, our lesson taught to start in concrete and end in the abstract. For example, when we teach the solar system, we first visualize the sun through our senses and gives the concept of 8 planets, galaxies, meteorites, etc. Through this process, the learner understands the material more easily. Some power of imagination also develop in them. But if we preserve the situation, it will become difficult for learner to understand anything. Another example, when we teach counting to the student, we should first take the help of the concrete object like beads, the stone, etc. Then proceed to digit and numbers. From analysis to synthesis. When we divide a thing into easy part or separate element in order to understand it easily is called analysis. It is a process which help in understanding the hidden element of a things or the causes of some incident or behavior. For instance, in order to tell about the structure or function of heart, the part of heart are shown separately and knowledge of every part is given. After the student are made to understand the structure or system of working of the heart. In this way, even a very difficult thing can be easily understood. Synthesizes is just opposite of analysis. All parts are shown as a whole. This process of analysis is easier than synthesizes for understanding a thing. This process developed the analytical power of the student. It is the best method of starting the teaching process. For example, by teaching digestive system, we should first analyze the different parts of digestive system one by one and then gives the uh, synthetic view of it. Hence, a good teacher always proceed from analysis to synthesizes. From particular to journal. A teacher should always proceed from particular to journal statements. Journal facts, principles, and idea are difficult to understand, and hence the teacher should always first present particular things and then lead to journal things. Suppose the teacher is teaching continuous tense while teaching English. He should first of all give few example and then on the basis of those make them generalize that this tense is used to denote an action that is going on that the time of speaking. Hence, a teacher should proceed from particular to journal, from empirical to rational. This is our sixth maximus. Empirical knowledge is that which is based on observation and first an experience about which no reasoning is needed at all. It is concrete, particular, and simple. We can feel and experiences it. On the other hand, rational knowledge is based upon argument and explanations. For example, suppose the student are to be taught that water boils on heating. They should first be made to heat the water and see it boiling. Then the teacher should explain that when water is heated, the molecules gain kinetic energy and there is a thermal agitation of the molecules which make the water boil. This maxim is an extension of the some of the previous maximus, namely proceed from simple to complex, proceed from concrete to abstract, and particular to general. From induction to deduction. The process of diverging general laws, rules, or formula from particular example is called induction. And it is if a statement is true in a special situation, it will also be true in other similar situation. It means drawing a conclusion from set of examples. For example, when hydrogen reacts with bromo, it gives bromohydride. Potassium reacts hydrogen, it gives potassium hydride. We come to conclusion that all element when react with hydrogen, they form hydrides. While using this process in teaching, a teacher has to present particular example or experiences and tell about similarity of their attributes. Deduction is the just opposite of induction. Deduction is the just a opposite of the induction. And it is we drive a certain particular conclusion from general law, rules, or principles. For example, in language teaching, before giving the definition of noun, the students are acquainted with the example of noun like man, chair, Delhi, etc. Then they are lead to general definition of noun. So a good teacher always proceed from induction and finish as deduction. From psychological to logical. Modern education give more emphasis on psychology of the child. The child psychological development is of the utmost important than any other things. A teacher, while teaching, should follow this maximum wise for psychological to logical. Psychological approach take into consideration the pupil's his interest, ability, aptitude, development, and level needs and reactions. The teacher should keep in mind the psychological selection of the subject matter to be presented before the pupils. Logical approaches consider the arrangement of the chosen content into logical and steps. It is child center maximum. For example, a teacher tells the story of a poem to student when they are not interested in reading. With this, a teacher proceed from psychological to logical sequences. From actual to representative. First hand experience make learning more vivid and efficient than to give them representative ones. A teacher, while selecting the content for presentation, should make all efforts possible to present in it through actual, natural, or real objects. Then from there, improvised presentative ones like picture, model, etc. For example, to teach about Golden Temple, Amritsar, a teacher should try his best to visit the actual place and that learning will be more vivid and the pupils will retain it for a long time in spite of teaching through sketch, models, or picture. Representative from should be used at the higher classes than in lower classes. From whole to parts. The maxim is the offshoot of Gestalt theory of learning, whose main emphasis was to perceive things or object as whole, not in the form of parts. Whole is more understandable, motivating, and effective than the parts. In teaching, the teacher should first give a synoptic view of lesson, then analyze into different parts. For example, the teacher, while teaching the pollination in the plant, he should first take the flower, then analyze into different parts and give detailed information about each and every part of the flower. In this way, maximum learning is possible. It is actually reverse of the maximum analyzed to synthesizes. From definite to indefinite. A teacher should always start definite because definite mention has its limited boundaries and jurisdiction than indefinite things. We always have confident on definite and tested things. We learn easily indefinite things on the basis of the definite things. Hence, a teacher, while teaching any content, should first present definite things, ideas, and then he can learn indefinite things easily. Definite things, definite rules of grammar help the learner to have good knowledge. Gradually, he can be taught about indefinite things. So I think you all understand uh, maxims of teaching. Now we will discuss the benefit of maxims of teaching. Simplify the process of teaching. Next is joyful teaching and learning environment. Purposeful teaching. To creativity among the students. to analysis and synthesizes by the students, to develop scientific attitude in the student, learning by doing, to develop critical thinking in the student. So these are the benefit of maxims of teaching. These are the references of today lecture you should go through for further more detail of maximus of teaching. Now, time of MCQs. First MCQs is universal fact found out by the teacher after year of option A books, option B practical, option C experience, option D none. Current answer is option C experiences. Next MCQs. The knowledge of different filling the blanks help the teacher to proceed systematically. Option A maximus, option B method, option C technique, option D none. Correct answer is option A maximus. The knowledge of different maximus help the teacher to process systematically. Next MCQs. When a child enter into the school, he process the sum, filling the blanks, and it is the duty of teacher to enlarge his previous filling the blanks. Option A books, option B practical, option C experiences, option D knowledge. Correct answer is option C experience. When a child enter into the school, he process some experience, and it is duty to teach and enlarge his previous experiences. Next MCQs. The process of teaching and learning, simple or easy thing, should be first presented to the student, and gradually the he should be proceed towards filling the blanks things. Option A complex, option B simple, option C easy, option D none. Correct answer is option A complex. The process of teaching and learning, simply or easy thing, should be first presented to the student, and generally he should proceed towards complex things. Next MCQs. Concrete things are solid things and they can be visualized, but filling the blanks things are not, only imaginative things. Option A complex, option B simple, option C abstract, option D none. Correct answer is option C abstract. Concrete things are solid things. They can be visualized, but abstract things are only imaginative things. Next MCQs. When we divide a things, it into easy parts or separate element in order to understand it is easily is called option A complex, option B simple, option B abstract, option D analysis. Correct answer is option D analysis. When we divide things into easy part or separate element in order to understand it easily is called analysis. Next MCQs. A teacher should always proceed from particular filling the blanks statement. Option A, complex. Option B, journal. Option C, abstract. Option D, analysis. Correct answer is option B, journal. A teacher should always proceed from particular to journal statement. Next MCQs, filling the blanks knowledge is that which is based on observation and first experiences about no reasoning is needed at all. Option A, complex. Option B, empirical. Option C, abstract. Option D, analysis. Correct answer is option B, empirical. Empirical knowledge is that which is based on observation and first experience about which is no reasoning is needed at all. Next MCQs. Modern education give more emphasis on filling the blanks of the child psychology interest. Option A, psychology. Option B, interest. Option C, aptitude. Option D, analysis. Correct answer is option A, psychology. The modern education give more emphasis on the psychology of the child. Last MCQs. This maxim is the post shoot of Gestalt theory of learning, whose main emphasis was to perceive things or object, filling the blanks as not in from whole parts. Option A, complex. Option B, simple. Option C, abstract. Option D, whole. Correct answer is option D, whole. The Maximus is the offshoots of Gestalt theory of learning, whose main emphasis was to perceive things or object as whole, as not into the form parts. Thank you, students. Have a good day.